What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Dirty South Outdoors. Today, I'm here with Steve, and we're going to talk a little bit about our experiences hunting Big Cypress. My experiences, my experiences of how we're hunted, and Steve's first time hunting in general. So, yeah, we're going to kick it off.
All right, man. Sounds good. So where do we start?
I guess we'll start in the beginning. You know, we started hunting Big Cypress. We, like you guys, I don't know if you saw the last video, but we talked a little bit about the rain. We hunted, was it 2 or 3 days in the beginning?
I think we did 3. We were here for 3 days.
Yeah.
We were here for 3 days.
Yeah, and it was rough.
It was a marathon, man.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. And, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. You know, we sat through some rain. Steve shit himself a little bit. Well, I'll rewind that. Steve got a little nervous with the lightning and stuff when we were about to head out. It was pretty nasty. You know, but we waited it out.
Yeah.
We went out there.
I mean, I think a lightning strike is the one thing that I'm not going to survive.
Yeah.
You know.
But, you know, the first day for me, I saw a spike and a 4-point. And they came out probably about 30 yards from me. And I just saw their heads for a brief second. You know, there was no way I was going to be able to get a shot off. You know, they were walking in this little trench that I didn't even see and in some thick bushes, you know. So that was the first day. I was super hopeful. I know I had an 8-point at that spot, and that's why I wanted to hunt it. But
yeah,
know.
I don't think I those first couple of days I didn't see anything. I heard a lot of movement. I think there were hogs.
Yeah.
I think there were probably hogs. That, man, I remember that first sit though was brutal. That first sit, I was in the sun in the morning after that sun came up, and that sun was beating on me, and there was still the mosquitoes, and it was brutal. That I thought about jumping down a couple. I think I even texted you saying, "Hey, I think I'm gonna get down."
Yeah.
You know, because I felt like I was gonna be better getting off, at least walking around or doing something. Because, you know, that was my first time up in a tree. You know, just alone with your thoughts.
It's a lot.
You know, but I stuck it out, dude. I stuck it out. You know, and the sits after that, they actually, not that they were more comfortable, but they got easier to deal with, especially mentally.
No, yeah, especially when you know what you're going into, you know. We just threw you in there and you're like, hey.
Yeah, get up in that tree.
Yeah. And then I remember I helped them set up the climber the first day, just not even set it up, just like kind of walk them through it real quick. And since it rained the last couple of days, the mosquitoes were unbearable.
It was terrible.
It was probably top 10 worst mosquitoes that I've ever. And there's like these super big ones.
Yeah, the big ones.
Bro, they're like little pterodactyls.
Yeah.
I remember you said it stuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after the first 3 days, we were exhausted.
Yeah.
I remember going back to work, and we were like,
we were beat.
Bro,
we were beat. I was beat, man. It took me a couple of days to like recover, you know, and not feel. I mean, I got home, I was exhausted. Yeah, I was exhausted. I took for like 2-3 days straight. I took naps every day, because it was a lot, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I mean, sometimes you think that just sitting there, you know, is not exhausting, but it's like it's the uncomfortableness, right? The mosquitoes, the sun beating down on you.
No, and you being in that alert mode.
Yes.
You know, your eyes are constantly looking around, doing things that they're not normally doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's very, very mentally fatiguing.
Yeah.
You know,
and then talking to yourself the whole time. You know, you get tired of.
Yeah, I know. You're alone with your thoughts, which you know, it's good and it's bad. You know, because sometimes you end up taking yourself to some places where you're not, and then you start thinking about, why I'm so uncomfortable. Why am I here? What am I doing this? What is, you know? But then sometimes like you hear, I guess it's squirrels, man. I don't even know, you know, but then you get excited.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter. You hear any little noise and you get excited, and then you're looking, and like you said, and then you're on high alert, you know, pulling out the binoculars, you know, so.
Yeah.
it's a lot going on at the same time. We're not, a lot of times I thought, well, how tiring can it be to sit in a tree? But now I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
And then after that, I don't know if you guys can see, but Rusty's here too. He's gonna keep coming up and down. But after that, we kept going and we were hunting. One day here, one day there.
Yeah.
And then the drive was, some days.
So refresh my memory, because all the days
they're all
come
merged in,
right? So memory, the first spot that we were at, we stayed at that spot the whole time, right? Yep. We never moved.
No, we didn't move.
Right, and then the other times that we went out, then we went to the other spot.
Yep.
Where, I mean, for me, it was
a little bit more action.
It was more action. Yeah. So
definitely. Going back to the first spot, I had ton of deer constantly, up until pretty much the rut, which is like probably the end of it was mid-August, and then we started hunting the 30th. So, I found some spots that kind of still had some movement, but it just wasn't the same. So, we hunted there, and then I was like, I didn't get anything on camera for about a month, and I was like, all right, we got to change something up.
Yeah.
So we hit some new spot up, and it had a little bit more movement. I guess less people were walking through there.
Yeah, we definitely saw more, because we saw walking that day that we were. I think that was the first day that we went out. Yep. We walked. We jumped on I think a couple of deer.
Yeah, we were kind of scouting and kind of hunting, walking around with our bows, and we were walking down, and we had these two does. Well, we confirmed one doe jump out.
Yeah, the one doe was the one that she ran down the trail. She hauled ass, But then the other one stayed in the bushes, which I think was the one that you kind of try to stalk there a little bit.
Yeah, but they were in some thick.
It's like everything's thick over there, though. Everything's thick.
So that's where Steve ended up hunting. The next time we went out, and then I hunted some other place, which I saw. Let's see, man, what's up? I saw like a 6-point, which I talked about in my other video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw a 6-point at like 40 yards. Didn't get to shoot it. As soon as I drew back, he booked it, and then I had a 10-point. So I was hunting in that area pretty much the rest of the day. Pretty much, what is it? The other 5 days that I hunted. Yeah. So we definitely had, and there were signs of deer. There was fresh rubs. There was nice bedded areas. So we were definitely in some stuff, but we just didn't get a shot. I know you had some deer.
Yeah, I saw 2 deer. Definitely, I saw one buck. I saw his. I saw the antlers. I couldn't really get, again, thick.
Yep.
They walk. It's amazing how they like to walk through that thick stuff, man. Nice. Where you see flashes of them, right, from behind. When they walk from behind a brush, then you see them for a second, then they disappear, and then you see them again. Yep. But they were probably at 40 yards, but then they disappeared.
And I go a little bit into that in the last video. I was like, so this year it was very dry. It was very, very dry. So the deer were constantly just roaming around. They didn't stick to any pattern. They could walk anywhere, which in earlier years, when everything's flooded, they only have a certain amount of things that they could walk through. They still veer off and, go chest deep in some water. But for the most part this year, everything was super dry.
Yeah, which is crazy, because, again, this is my first time, but I found that one day where I lost the thermocell. I lost 3 I think like 3 arrows with the broadheads on them.
Yeah.
And we were almost waist high water.
Yeah.
And
we did find some bedded area
at one point. Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy that these deers, they don't care. They walk everywhere.
Yeah.
They walk everywhere.
And don't even get me started on the stuff that I lost. I lost some arrows. My binoculars took water. Bro, it was a mess. Everything was
your rangefinder.
Yeah. That's another thing. If you guys are watching this, and you're kind of going back and forth on, should I get this rangefinder or that rangefinder that's a little bit more expensive? But this, I never dealt with this, But one morning it was super foggy.
Yeah.
And my rangefinder, which has never acted up on me, was acting up in the fog. So if you're getting into this and you're kind of going back and forth on a rangefinder, go with, you know, maybe a Vortex, maybe something a little bit more expensive, just for that. Because at, you know, 8 in the morning when it was all foggy, I couldn't. Everything ranged at what was it, like 9 yards?
Yeah,
everything was super close
because it was ranging on the fog.
Yeah, so that's something just to think of if you find yourself in a dilemma like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing that I've learned is, you know, I guess it goes for most things, but here, you know, you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you definitely.
Oh yeah, my binoculars too.
For.
My binoculars, I've had them for 8 years. You know, and they were just I forgot what brand it was. It was a pretty good brand, and you know, it lasted me all the way up to here, and you know, I ended up going with Vortex. You know?
Yeah,
so
that's what I bought off the bat. You know,
that warranty, you can't beat it.
You know, and sometimes you can get a good deal on them. You know, you go sure. Like I think I got mine on. No, actually I got them off of Amazon, but I looked on. You know, I kind of compared around, and Amazon had good price. Good price for it. You know. So.
Yeah. So, you know, and just before we keep going on the video, I want to give a little shout out to my sponsors. All right, and we're back. So we're gonna go a little bit about why we started seeing less deer on my cameras, which I saw countless of times. So towards the end of the season, you know, I walked a little bit of the road of where I was hunting, and I started getting, you know, pictures of these pickers picking all the palmetto berries from where I was hunting. So, you know, I started putting two and two together. These guys were just going in there. They had a truck going all through my little I don't even know what to call it, my slough, I guess, and there's tracks everywhere.
That's you know, which is crazy.
I think they ended up catching about 6 of them, you know, so that doesn't help. There was hogs everywhere, you know, all the bears, you know, and then you're dealing with all the extra stuff too, like the pickers. I know they caught a couple poachers, you know, where we were hunting as well.
Yeah,
you know, so
at night.
On top of all the natural stuff that you're dealing with that the deers aren't gonna go, now you're dealing with hunters, poachers.
It's that human factor.
Yeah, it's
right. You know, people that just don't want to follow the rules.
Yeah, it was kind of upsetting because I had some very nice deer. You know, for the both of us, we had a great amount of deer. Yeah. I was like, yo, one of them have to show up.
And then now you think back and you're like, it was like from one day to another. I remember, you know, you would always send me, hey, look at this.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, no deer, no hog. I mean, like we were even getting bear, even turkey.
Yep.
You know, and then all of a sudden, bro, it died down. And then, you know, that kind of makes sense.
Yep.
It kind of makes sense because if they're driving a truck through all that, you know, that land out there.
Yeah, nothing's going to show up.
Nothing's going to show up. Everything's going to get scared.
Yeah, so at the end of the 9th day, even though I was exhausted, I was so upset that, you know, I packed up all my cameras, and you know, maybe we'll go back for muzzleloader and we'll kind of, I don't know, kind of walk it, see if we spot anything, and do that. But yeah, it was very upsetting. You know, on top of that, I spent 9 days. He spent 8.
Yeah.
You know, and bro, you spend the money, you spend the time, just your body's beat. You know, and you know you're dealing with all this extra stuff. You know, so
and stuff that you don't know. I mean.
Yeah.
We never would have known.
Yeah,
you know, unless they just happened to you know get caught, whatever. You know, but we never would have known.
No.
You know, and you're dealing with these things. And
then that's not even on top of the hunters. You know, if a hunter goes in there and they kill the deer that you're after, whatever,
that's fair play.
That's out of out of our hands. But the fact that we're dealing with all the other stuff, it was.
Well, it was like it was the end of the first day.
Yep.
You know, I'm out by the truck, waiting for Lou to come out, and a truck pulls up with a deer in the back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
With a deer in the back, you know, right in the same area, you know. So
and we helped them skin it.
We helped them skin it for a little bit, you know, and it was cool, man, you know. And again, like we made a connection there with some people, you know. So now you communicate with him, you know, and So it's cool, you know. It was cool,
definitely.
you know, and they were super cool, man. He was super cool. He was like, "Hey, you want to see my deer?" You know, he was super excited.
Yeah.
You know, and he wasn't even the guy that shot it. It was his buddy that shot it.
Yep.
But you would have thought he shot it because he was so excited about it.
And that's what, you know, we're all about. You know, just trying to help each other out. Those guys, he happened to just kill his first Everglades deer, and he's super jacked up. You know, I'm happy for him because we know what it takes to go out there and actually harvest a deer.
But I actually didn't know what it took yet because that was my first day.
Yeah. So
now I have a much better appreciation for it.
Yeah. So, you know, we're gonna go out there again. We're not gonna stop. You know, hopefully something comes our way and we're able to harvest that animal. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you want to?
No, you know what? I mean,
how do you feel about the whole hunting?
So okay, so we've kind of talked about this, you know, on our own, and it's very cliche, but you know, as long as you learn something, it's not a failure.
Yeah.
You know, just because you didn't kill an animal doesn't mean it was a failure. You know, each time I went out there, I learned something. You know, I learned how to climb a tree with that thing. Now I'm pretty good. You know, I'm pretty good climbing with the climber.
Yep.
You know, I know how to set myself up better. You know, I now I think about, you know, wind direction, you know, stuff like that. Which at the end of the day, like here, it's like if we knew which way they were coming, it would maybe make a difference. But you know, but sometimes you think about it. You take into account now.
Oh yeah, especially when you're going into like a slough and there's one thing. You want to kind of play the wind just in case they're coming from there or they're walking either way.
You know, so you know how to even picking a tree, even picking a tree. Like I showed you one tree that I went on, and you were like, "What?"
Yeah.
You know,
it was a tree that got burnt down.
Yeah.
And he was texting me while we're hunting. He's like, "I think I'm gonna get down. This tree's a little sketchy." I'm like, "What do you mean? You're on the tree already?"
Yeah. The tree at the base, it looked wide, and you know, and it's so dark. And even though you have a headlamp when you're trying to you know, you really can't see everything. So I started, but come to find out, when I got down and I looked, the tree had I guess burnt or something, so it was opened up at the base. So that's why it kind of looked wide. And then it also, as I got up, it took a turn to one side, so it was super sketchy. It was super sketchy, but I toughed it out, and it was super uncomfortable because the feet was angled down the whole time. You know, yeah.
Yeah,
that was a rough day. That was a rough day.
And then you kind of get an experience of, am I gonna want to use a climber or a saddle next year?
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I think I already know what I'm doing. I think I'm going saddle.
Yeah, which a climber is probably the most comfortable, but you got to remember carrying that like awkward thing. Like remember, you have to walk a little further than I did.
Yeah,
you're clunking around with that.
Yeah, I know exactly. If you don't put it together just right, like you said, I was clink the whole time. So then it makes it so in order to make it stop clanking, then you gotta go. So now you're walking uncomfortable, you know. So it makes your walk out even harder, you know. And like I told you, I weighed it, the whole thing. It was 35 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, that's that with my backpack, with the binoculars, right? That's got to be close to 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, walking out, and then you're not walking, you know, 100 yards. I walked out like 600 yards one day, almost a mile the other, you know. So it's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and going into the platform, I mean my saddle system, I used the Arsenal RSR.
Yeah, I remember when you bought it. I
just bought it.
That thing's nice,
you know,
man.
And I didn't know what I was really doing, but this guy, Tony Mello, he just harvested, I don't know if you saw it, a drop tine here in Florida.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful, so shout out to him. But he recommended me that platform, and I was like, listen, dude, you know, I'll take your word for it. It's probably, I mean, like I said, I don't know a lot. I can't compare it to a lot of things, but the bite on the tree, it's super light. You know, it clips onto the back of your saddle, so you're able to climb, and it's there hanging. The setup is super easy. So if you guys are looking for a platform, I highly recommend it. It is super nice. And just the little things that I learned with my actual saddle, you know, like whether I want it to be long here, tethered, you know, it kind of pinches on the hips. If you put it too down, it's kind of too loose, you know. So just trying to find that right place. I remember the first couple of days, I showed you my hips and my back had bruises because I was just too tight. I didn't do it right, you know. So these are all little things, you know, that if you're dealing with, you know, just try to ask somebody, or you could ask us.
Yeah, and there's so much information on online. You know, online on YouTube and stuff, like the knee pads, right?
Yep.
I told you, I go, bro. No, that was actually the article in the magazine. In the magazine. I told you, right. One of the things they said was to get knee pads. They were like, knee pads.
Yep.
You know, and I think they came in clutch, man.
No, they did. Yeah. And like I said, I don't know if you guys looked at the last one, but I'm using the New York Saddle Hunter. They use a single line system, you know, so I don't have any steps. I don't have those the sticks. The sticks. So, you know, it might be something that I go into in the future, maybe just to have one, just in case, so I don't have to be throwing the ball over the tree. But it's not that big of a deal. I loved it. I'm probably gonna keep using it. You know, maybe, like I said, maybe I will get a stick just to have, just in case. You know, maybe if there's no branch for me to hang up on, or if it's a nice tree that I want to hunt. But the system was great.
Yeah, you know, so I think next year for sure I want to be more mobile.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to be able to walk further. You know, so yeah, I'm definitely going saddle. You know, but then again, you know, it comes to something that we've talked about too, is, you know, being able to try things out.
Yeah.
You know, like a one stick. Like I look at this or the sticks, or even those climbing platforms that they have now.
Yep.
Like, you know, they all look pretty good. They all seem like they have an advantage, but you know, it's hard to see what I'm gonna like best.
Yep.
You know, but if you could try it, that would be awesome. You know, that would be awesome.
Maybe in the near future, you know, I'm able to get my hands on a couple of different options, and we could show you what there is, what's better about this, what's better for Everglades.
That's definitely, you know what, the process of me buying a saddle is something that I would like to share, you know, just so, because I have a lot of questions, you know, and luckily I have you, you know, because you kind of, you know, you're ahead of me, so you've got more experience, you know, so I rely on the things that you've gone through and your suggestions. You suggest something to me and I just go and get it. You know, I don't really, you know, question it. So
and even then, you know, I'm still learning. You know, I don't think we'll ever know.
You're never gonna know everything.
You know, it's just like everything else, but just a little bit of experience. You know, even hunting 9 days out there, you learn a lot. You know, you
learn a lot about yourself too.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You learn a lot about yourself. You know,
at the end of the day, you know, I was lucky enough that I pretty much saw everything every day I sat. You know, until the last day, I didn't see anything. You know, I always saw turkeys. I always saw deer. I had one day a bobcat was just looking at me.
That sounds so funny.
But it was, you know, it was a good time. You know, looking back at it now, if you asked me this probably a week ago, I would have been like, "Yo, screw this."
Well, how many drives?
Oh yeah.
Did we take?
Yeah. Every day home, I'm like, "Yo, I'm not doing this again."
Yeah. Every day, that was the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this again.
Yep.
I don't think I'm coming out here no more.
Yep.
You know, and then by the time we're getting home, it's like,
by the time I get some food in me.
Hey, so when are we gonna go? When we, you know, it's just like it gets into your blood. It gets into your thing that you know, like you don't want to leave, like we say, defeated.
Yep.
Right. We did many, you know, drives of shame. Right. Defeated.
Not defeated.
You know, at one of these days, we're gonna be victorious.
Yep. Yeah. And then that one day, you will erase all those bad days.
Yeah, of course. Even now, like now, I think back. You know, we're trying to paint a picture of how it is really, but you know, guys, people ask me, "Hey, so how was that? It was awesome." You know, like I remember the cool stuff. You know, I remember, you know, the owls making those screaming noises. You know, using the Merlin app, right?
Oh yeah. If you guys don't have that app, the Merlin,
so cool, man.
If you're bored on the tree and you hear a crazy bird, just download it. You know, it comes in, and it picks it up immediately.
And it tells you exactly what the bird is that's making that call.
Yeah, it even goes a little bit beyond and tells you why it's making that call.
Yeah, so that's very cool. Very cool. You know.
Yeah, but you definitely learn a lot out there. You know, and I feel like hunting here in South Florida, it makes you an even better hunter if you go outside the state or even up north, because it just gets easier. You know, you're not dealing with the water. You're not dealing with all the extra stuff. You know, so
even the heat, even I think the
yeah.
heat, the humidity, everything's different. The further north, even in Florida,
Yep.
that you go, you know, and even the deer are different.
Yep.
Like I saw, you know, now that I talk to, you know, people who have land and stuff in other parts of the state, they show me, you know, hey, look at this, and the that deer compared to this deer is huge.
Yep.
It's huge, you know. But the deer, they're like everywhere. They just come up, you know. And I'm like, oh, we don't see deer like that down here.
No, yeah. You know? That's what I was telling him. Because we were talking about RMA Outfitters, and he's like, but isn't it easier to hunt up there? And I'm like, yeah, it's easier, but you're looking for different things. Like, you're gonna have a more abundant amount of deer, but you're focused on, you know, maybe harvesting a bigger buck, or you know, it's more of a challenge in that way. But
yeah, and you still gotta follow the, you know, the rules, right? You still gotta be quiet walking out.
Yep.
You know, you have to set up at the, you know, the right wind direction. You know, I mean, yeah, like I mean, if I had a way, like I would like to maybe harvest the deer here first.
Yep.
And then after I do that, then expand, you know, where I go hunting at, you know.
No, it makes you appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, and I already, like, now I feel like I'm in competition with Big Cypress now, right?
Yeah. No.
You know,
I can't stop.
And they're kicking my ass, but Big Cypress is kicking my ass.
Yep.
But you know what? One of these days, I'm gonna win.
Yep. At RMA Outfitters, you know, if I would have taken you out there without any hunting experience, you know, you would have been like, oh, this is so easy. You know, so I'm kind of glad that we started off here and you saw kind of what it takes, because if I would have just taken you out there, you would have had no appreciation for
I'm glad. I'm glad I started this way.
Yep.
You know, as opposed to, you know, and like,
and even you know, we have seen some deer very far. You saw some deer.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't able to get it, but you saw like a nice deer here. You know, we've been looking at RMA Outfitters Instagram and all the pictures that he posts every day.
It's ridiculous,
and
man.
It's just wild, you know. And
his deer are so big, dude.
Yeah, and
they're all so big. But then, you know, which now it goes, you know, now I mean, we're hunting public land, right?
Yeah. And
that's private land. But so you get into it. It's like you start doing this deep dive into hunting and all the different aspects of it, you know, and you realize, oh, well, I can go hunt public land. Well, I mean, private land.
Yep.
But just because it's private doesn't mean it's going to be successful, or doesn't mean that it's going to be, you're going to get better deer. It has to be managed correctly.
Yep.
You know, which is a whole science behind that.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole science, and Ray has it down packed, bro. He has it down packed. Just if you follow him on Instagram, you're gonna know. You know he's doing it right. Yeah. You know he's doing it right.
No, and you know, it goes to, oh, do I let this deer pass? You know, if you're in that level, you know, obviously you're not gonna know any better.
No, if I see a deer that big,
yeah, you're gonna kill any legal deer that shows up. But the more you hunt, the more you realize, all right, you know, this deer is not as big as I want. I'm gonna let him grow.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how, you know, and then the amount of property, the amount of deer that you could kill, it's, you know,
no, it's so much.
It's so much. That's another, you know, podcast if we ever get into that. But you know, if you guys look it up on Instagram, RMA Outfitters, that guy is part deer, man. He has a podcast and he talks about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, his podcast is awesome. You know, and you just look at the post of the deers that he has on there.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
And it's you're like what? And they're all like everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, because Ray has a big chunk of land out there.
Yep.
You know, and you see and the deer are coming up, and then you see in the background, you see the stand.
Oh, yeah. No, and you see
the stand.
You look
right
at the main deer, and then in the back you'll see more rats, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, man, it's all about management, I guess, for private land, and he does it right.
Yeah, but yeah, guys, thanks for watching Steve's journey, how he, first started, and he's already talking about moving on. So
yeah, I gotta get this down. And then, we'll see where we go from there. But you know what? I'm hooked, man. I'm hooked, I started this journey as to see, I'm at a point in my life where I have the opportunity to try different things, and I wanted to try this. This is something I wanted to try for a very long time. Now I'm at a point where I can. you know, and I love it, man. I love it. I'm hooked. I'm definitely hooked.
But yeah, you got anything else?
Oh, man, I think that's good.
Thanks for watching, guys. You know, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Dirty SoFlo Outdoors. You know, we'll be posting and hopefully growing from here. But thanks again. Stay safe out there. Good luck for you guys the rest of the season. Yeah, and stay dirty.
Yeah.
Later, guys.